with this new modeling, with the dynamic nature of the models that we've been using for now many, many weeks, it seems, I think, self-evident that we should not prepare to bring our children back into the school setting. And that's why I was very pleased yesterday. We've been working collaboratively with the Superintendent of Public Education, Tony Thurmond, and Lyndon Darling-Hammond. I'm very pleased with the guidance the superintendent put out. I've been very honest with all of you for weeks now, my belief and my expectation, but I think based on that modeling, it should be clear that the right thing to do for our children, the right thing to do for the parents, for households, for the communities in which they reside, is to make sure that we are preparing today to set our school system up where we are increasing class time, but increasing it at home, and fulfilling our obligations through distance learning and other mechanisms to make sure that we're educating our kids, but not doing so physically on the school sites. And so I'm very pleased that we have the Superintendent of Public Education here on the phone. And in a moment, I'll turn it over to him. But with the expectation now that the schools will not reopen, but classes are in, we also recognize our responsibility to make sure that we're not only educating our kids, but we're feeding our kids. And before I turn it over, I just want to make two quick announcements along those lines. We were very pleased to get a waiver from the federal government that will allow us to substantially increase access to food distribution throughout our public education system in the state. We've made great progress, but it's been inhibited by the lack of access to this waiver. We finally got that waiver, and that will allow us to more substantially provide points of access for grab-and-go meals and other meals throughout our system. Number two, I was very pleased today with the great work of Tony Thurmond, Ben Cheetah in my office, and others. We were able to advance a management labor agreement. This was a stubborn issue that manifested itself very differently in the 1,000-plus school districts throughout the state of California. Remember, this is the largest school system in the United States, America. We worked with management of all stripes and labor of all stripes to get a comprehensive agreement on protocols and procedures and processes to work through any differences that we may have in preparation and expectation to meet this moment and do the kind of work that's necessary to advance our distance learning and to make sure that people are appropriately getting the resources and access to critical curricula related to homeschooling. In order to do that, we needed some private sector support. So today I'm also pleased to announce Google stepped up. Google stepped up in a big way. Google announced today, or we're announcing today, with Google, a partnership where they are providing 100,000 points of access to improve Wi-Fi and broadband capacity. Not only access to the internet, but quality access to the internet. They're providing minimum 3 months free access to high quality, access to broadband throughout the state of California. Those 100,000 points will help us substantially address the digital divide issues, the rural issues, the equity issues that are at play, even in the best of times, but substantively are highlighted in these more difficult times. In addition to that, Google has announced thousands of Chromebooks that they'll also be making available for those that may say, well, that's wonderful, I have access to the internet now, but I don't have anything to connect it to. And so they will be providing those Chromebooks in addition to providing minimum 3 months unlimited capacity at 100,000+ sites throughout the state of California. We need more Googles. We still have a little bit more coverage that we're going to need in some of the more remote parts of the state, but this was a substantial enhancement that came just at the right time with the labor management agreement, with the federal waiver, and with now the expectation that schools will close. I just want to end by making one personal point, and that is, as a parent of 4, the oldest being 10, this has been a very stressful time. And so for all the parents out there, millions of you, that now may be very anxious about the expectation your school is not going to reopen. You may have thought that was the case, but you were waiting to hear clarity, which I hope we're providing now today. Let me just express deep respect and empathy, and particularly for mothers. And let me just say this openly. I try to do my part as a parent, but my wife does an heroic amount of work, and the pressure that we have placed now, additional pressure on caregivers and parents, particularly women and moms, is extraordinary. Moms are already carrying a disproportionate amount of weight in terms of managing the household. Moms are also working, and many of them are teachers themselves that are having to provide distance learning, having to cope with all the stress and anxiety, looking out for all of their kids they love dearly, and making sure they're taking care of their own kids and their child care needs and the like. And again, there's a gender reality connected to this, and I just want to go deeply to express an appreciation to all of the moms, all of those teachers, all of those caregivers. I know how stressful this is. Trust me, I know. And I know what we're asking of you over the course of the next few months. And I know you are looking forward to those graduations. You were looking forward to seeing, how well you did with the SAT and those grades and competitive environment, particularly for our seniors. And all of those things we're working in real time. And that's why I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent and Linda Darling-Hammond to talk about partnerships with the UCs, California State University system, and our community college system to address A through G requirements and address the issues associated with the SATs and graduation. But we know that those anxieties run deep and they are justifiable. And so the care and the deep empathy and collaboration you provide at this moment will never be forgotten. And I just want to know how deeply proud I am of everybody that is going to step in to the void with these schools being closed, but these classes now continuing so that we can educate our kids despite this challenging moment. And so with that,